Hello YouTube, and thank you for tuning into my channel. Today I'll be doing a review of the movie The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I went to go see it last night at 8:05, and I had high hopes. Ever since I learned about this movie being made, ever since I saw the first promotional poster, and then eventually the trailer came out, I was very excited. You know, I do like horror movies, but I'm really particular about them. Usually, it's hard to find a horror movie that actually has good writing. It's not just a bunch of jump scares and eye candy or like, let's see how gory we can make this death scene kind of thing. But to actually have a horror movie with good writing is hard to come by, and I truly enjoy it when I do find those. So this movie is based off of the novel by Bram Stoker, which was written a very long time ago, and it's about that thick. So what's cool also is it's not the entire novel. It's actually just a chapter. So they made this entire movie out of just one chapter of that book. And so they were really able to pay attention to the detail of the story and get little intricate parts that they wanted to. Since they weren't trying to fit an entire novel into a movie, they got to focus just on that one chapter. And I enjoyed how they portrayed Dracula in this movie. They focused more on his animalistic version, monster figure, and it was interesting too, because when you first are introduced to Dracula and you see him, he comes out as more of like a goblin. Really, to me, he seemed more like a weak, desperate goblin who's just barely clinging to life. And then you notice throughout the movie, the more that he feeds, he becomes stronger, and not just that, his appearance changes. Like early on in the movie, he just looked like a skinny, starved person who had gray skin, and then he starts beefing up, and his teeth at first were just like yellow and brown and just kind of jagged, and then those turn into like true like animal fangs. And the more he feeds, he just gets more intimidating looking, more like an actual gargoyle. And he grows wings. And then by the end of the movie, he's actually just like full form, like really intimidating gargoyle looking thing with like huge fangs. And his eyes, when he looks at you with his eyes, it looks like they're embers, like you're looking into the coals of a fire as they like emanate, and they almost look like fire. It's really cool. You don't hear him talk very much in the movie. There's a couple of times where he kind of whispers something, almost like he's toying with the shipmates. And like there was one time a guy towards the end of the movie yells at him as Dracula's like picking him up by the throat. He's trying to actually get some words out, and he says, "I do not fear you." And Dracula, kind of like in his creepy whispery voice, he's like, "You will." And he takes his claw and he just kind of like slices his artery. And I don't want to give away too much, but I enjoyed it. The thing is, it had good writing, and it was rated R, of course. There's some pretty graphic scenes in there, uh, especially, they don't realize that they're dealing with a vampire, or they don't want to believe it. They aren't really that superstitious on the boat for the most part. So the concept of somebody catching on fire just because they're in the sunlight, um, doesn't really occur to them until it happens right in front of them. And there were certainly some disturbing scenes in the movie, but overall, it was just a wonderful adventure, journeying across the sea in an old sailboat, old merchant ship with a bunch of cargo on board. And unfortunately for them, they didn't realize exactly what was in all the cargo. Uh, and it was great. I finally found a horror movie that was a good story, written well, focused, and not just a bunch of eye candy and gore. I mean, yeah, there was plenty of blood, but not over the top, because they weren't just focused on that. So I truly enjoyed it, and if you're a horror fan, go ahead and go see it. Thank you for watching my review.